See, it's 8:30. I'm just gonna state for the record that Rich Goodman is joining by phone, because he has some family issues he's going to take care of. I've got a number of things for workshop. Does anybody want to kick it off? Or I can.
Well, why don't you start and mine can wait.
Okay, so, I wanted to first kick, just so we can do it before we have a room full of people. The email that I sent you yesterday, about the email trail, and did you see the, yeah?
Yes.
So, I just didn't want to spend a ton of time on this, because you have some background. Maybe a teensy bit more, two things that aren't in the email. So several supervisors, and I don't remember whether either of you were copied, but both Rich and Cindy and I received some emails that were way out of line. Lots of that.
Directly
Directly. Well,
to
and
you,
Yes,
to me,
yeah,
and an email to
from the
Keith.
same,
well,
from the
yes.
same individual?
Yes.
Yes, and then you know,
Yeah.
because the email to Keith
Yeah, we saw that.
worried me, because it was a non sequitur and it didn't make sense. I was concerned, maybe there's an issue or something. So, and then I became aware through Keith of this email trail that I sent you. And because it involved a threat, or threats plural, I became very concerned, and I met with the homeowner. There's some issues. Keith, very graciously, in my opinion, after I spoke to the individual, came and, I think, did you get an apology in person, Keith? Or
In writing,
no?
and then I called him.
Yeah, so it was both, and there was another apology. The homeowner did have a good conversation with me, and he was contrite, and said, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And so I told him apologies were in order. I did also call the person in the email who was on the receiving end, and he appreciated getting the email, but he's also concerned. So I felt that I needed to come to you all and I did copy Andy, and see whether we need to undertake something like a suspension. I need your views.
I think there is, I know several people who are familiar with this person, and they believe that behavior has changed markedly over the last, and there is probably something medically going on. So I don't know if a suspension will just further escalate that.
Like I said.
My thought is, there's been a degradation there mentally for whatever reason. I have to think about the other residents in the community that are here on the facility. And that's why I was, as hard as it would be for me to do, because I know this man and he's been very kind in the past. I have to think about the other individuals here who are at the facility, and if he comes on the facility, are we endangering those other residents?
Does he live alone or does he have family?
He's got a wife.
Has anyone talked to her?
I did. I should have said that, and I apologize for interrupting you, Rachel. Let me just get this out, and then I'll turn it over to you. I called her first because I have played tennis with her as a partner. We have a competitive, she and I were a team. And I'm not a doctor, but she knew there was an issue, and I said, look, this is serious. So she said she would speak to you that evening, and I didn't expect to be able to get to him till the next morning. He called me immediately. So, but she didn't tell me that she thought there was anything medically going on.
It might not be medical, but there is something, he is a different person.
Could we make it so he's only allowed on the premises with his wife?
Oh,
I'm
yeah, so
sorry,
Rich, go ahead.
Yeah,
I know the individual, I like him as well. We're not doctors.
Right,
It's not up to us to make medical decisions. Let's say the situation progressively gets worse. Are we going to keep allowing it? I don't, we can't sit here and make judgments as to why people do things.
Right.
We can only make judgments as to what's been done. And for consistency's sake, when we had the other resident who was abusive and did not listen to staff, he was suspended. I think we just need to be consistent. Because let's say we don't do anything now, and this person actually does punch the person in the nose. Are we liable? Did we not do anything to protect the other residents? I think we just have to set a standard of what it is. If it is medical, I hope he can get treatment and I hope he gets better.
Right.
I mean, I like him very much, but what was done was just not acceptable. And like I said, we need to be consistent. So should this happen with somebody else, then we shouldn't have to keep agonizing every single time like this. What do we do? What should happen? Whatever. We can't start picking and choosing winners. We just have to have a policy and live with it.
I agree with you,
And,
but, so the last time, what was the duration of the suspension, remind me?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And it was just 2 weeks, nothing happened in there, no apology required, no nothing, just 2 weeks.
No, and he was.
Then I'm fine with that.
And he wasn't gonna apologize.
Oh, I know,
No.
I'm aware.
Yeah, I bet you- yeah.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that, and I think if there's another threat to anybody, you call the police. You have to get the police involved.
Well, and so.
That would cover any liability, but.
Interestingly, and maybe without going into names, Keith, because you were the one, I think, the police were, am I correct that the vendor wanted to call the police?
Correct.
If you could just give a little bit.
Yeah, the vendor wanted to call the police because his guy was the one that was threatened.
Yeah.
And Joe, I think, talked him out of that because they were going to try to talk the guy off the ledge or whatever. And so that didn't happen.
And he did apologize to the vendor.
Correct.
I think then it is consistent, and yeah.
I think usually we're gonna have to do it.
Suspension. And what else do you do? Just keep reminding him that he can't behave that way?
Well, I will tell you this, I did take the person who received the email, I asked him how he felt about it, and he expressed what Rich said, which is his concern is, he is concerned it's gonna happen again. And
Well, I'm concerned for the safety of the individual as well as
Right.
other residents.
Right.
absolutely.
But I also agree with what Ken said, that if it happens again, it kind of becomes a police matter. The police have to evaluate.
Sure. It's not up to us.
There's a
No.
threat, if there's a physical threat.
Enforcer.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know whether I told Andy we were gonna discuss it during workshop, and my only question was, because some of this took place off of River Club property, did that hamstring us in any way? And I don't think so, because, of the
Just the
email.
the last email is,
Right.
I just asked the
Right.
question because it was turning in my brain, so I didn't have, so anyway, I think we just mentioned it to Andy.
I mean, it happened on CDD property,
Yes.
right? So,
No, it was technically on homeowners property.
it was actually on homeowner's property, but the one email to Keith would be the supporting to say a 2-week suspension. And
It was
the
also
email
to a vendor
starts.
who was coming in
And,
with
yeah.
Well, yeah,
CDD property.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, so I'll just take it up with Andy then. Okay, I just really wanted us as a group. And then maybe the final question is, I think, I hope these are very, very, very seldom, but I don't think a suspension should be invested in one person. I think it needs to be a discussion without names and 5 supervisors deciding. Don't you agree?
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't follow that.
Well, I didn't feel
one person
that
should
one
never do
person
this.
should be invested. I think it should be a
I think that should
purpose.
never happen,
I
because
agree.
we all need to know if somebody knocks on your door.
I agree.
But we have to make that decision in the meeting.
We
can't-
can
can't
do it
take
without
that
names,
workshop.
and that's why I labeled
Yeah,
my email
we can do
staff
that.
with their facts, so, okay.
Okay.
All right, enough said about that. Okay. Yeah, well, we were just being a little quiet. I can use this now, so,
Why don't we move on?
Thank you. To, let's see, oh, this isn't working, okay,
Here,
yeah.
try this one. There you go.
So I wanted to get your view, morning, Greg, wherever you went. We were talking about, at the last meeting, about Christmas bonus, and I wondered whether it should be $20 a household versus 15, because it's been 15 for years. Do we, before they pull the trigger and review?
I'm okay with that.
And it would be opt-out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Again, you can't make that decision here in the workshop.
Right, but I think she's just
yeah.
Okay.
pre-questioning.
I don't know,
I would also,
I would think the
Go ahead,
number
I'm sorry.
of payments is going to be a lot less this year.
You think?
Well, because it's for this year, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're going to bonus former Vesser employees.
You mean the cost will be less?
Yeah.
Oh, so Ken is saying if you keep it at 15, staff will probably still get more because
You're distributing
Fewer
it
people
over
to
less
distribute.
people.
people.
Yeah, but we have the same number of staff here, don't we?
No.
I don't think so.
So I don't think we're going to bonus somebody who's been here a month.
Right. Maybe we need to get all those facts from Greg before
Yeah.
we make this
We
decision.
can do it at the River Club.
Yeah.
We're talking about Christmas bonus, Craig.
Oh, there you are.
yeah,
You should come here.
Yeah,
I
you're gonna be here.
agree with Ken, you would,
Don't mind.
I agree with Ken, you would throw away bonuses, people that we just hired. Obviously, you want to give them something to
Fair
appreciate
enough.
them for being here. But
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
but somebody here for a month or two doesn't get the same as somebody who's been here for the year.
Right, fair enough. I
Okay,
take your point.
So we need to do a little bit of math.
You know, and not only that, but it might be a good idea to get ahead of this next year.
Yeah.
And earlier say, hey, the staff we have is, having a positive outlook, the staff we have is working out great.
Right.
We'd like to increase the Christmas bonus. We have,
Right,
rather than just
Yeah,
bring it out,
and
people
also
who,
for the
you know how
staff-
this community.
yeah,
And for the staff that stayed, they've done quite a yeoman's job in doing what's necessary for continuity's sake, and deserve a little extra reward and thanks.
But again, that ultimately
Because
is not going to be Greg and
Yeah.
company's decision.
Well, I was just gonna ask Greg, so if it's new staff, do you prorate a bonus?
Typically based on longevity or tenure.
So you would, so if we kept the bonus dollar amount the same, you would have more to distribute to the longer tenured staff? Or
You could do it, yeah, you can do it just with a formula that you plug in based on how long you've been here.
and
There's
here's
a
how
base,
much money there is.
yeah, it's X amount of dollars divided amongst X number of people. And typically it's on the years, and then if it's, let's say, 2% per year, and it's 4% or 6%, each person would get it. But yes, it's very generous that you're even having this discussion about that. I'm sure that for the holiday bonus, people would appreciate it, the ones. that-
right. So do you need anything from us in order to proceed with that, or, okay,
Just the money.
yeah, well, that'll come from the member accounts.
If you get the billing out.
Well, yeah.
That's right, we didn't get the statements.
Every club I've been at, they do a Christmas bonus, and it's based on tenure.
Yeah, we all.
Sometimes it's too heavily weighted or slanted for long-term employees, and then the new people get really little or nothing. But that's something we can discuss.
Just a really quick question. I've been chased by the guys from the company Shore Vista that's done our survey the last couple of years, and clearly Hampton said that, they can handle that survey for us, but before I tell him no, I wanted to get your view on whether we did want to keep a third-party survey for some reason.
My only issue would be the consistency of the
Cheryl,
questions and
could
the
you use your
format.
mic, please? Could you use the microphone? We can't hear
Here we
you.
go.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even see
It's
it.
hidden.
My only question would be, is it going to be, can Hampton do it consistently, format as well as trending and analysis after the fact? Because
Right.
we've had that problem before where it's been different questions and then you
Yes.
can't get any feel for what's going on.
That would be my concern as well,
Yep.
is that we make sure that we can do a year-over-year comparison. Yeah.
Just tell them.
Just weighing in, my feeling would be, do it one more year with the existing company for that same reason. Even though we can't make that decision here.
Right.
But it's under your, I think it comes under your,
No, it's 7,500, but I'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
it's in the budget, so.
Yes, yeah, okay. Thank you for that.
And maybe then for the next meeting, we could ask if Hampton Golf actually can be very flexible in their format for surveys so that we have that information before we have to make the decision.
Okay, good.
I don't know if they looked that out.
They previously supplied, so we can get an idea of what they're asking. Because if the answers are extremely similar, or questions are extremely similar, then it could be a moot point. But if they're, very diverse types of questions, we would then need to, like Cindy said, have some consistency and keep our survey going.
I would think that they could just make it the same.
But I think that's the question.
But
Yeah,
that is the
that's the
question. Yeah, that is the question. I'll go ahead and put it on the agenda for the next meeting and find out from Peter McCarty what the price is. So, is this working by the way, this mic? Because I haven't read
Yes.
mine.
Yes.
Okay, okay. I wanted to just give you a 10-second update on La Sala. We've met now twice, the group has met twice with Hampton. We met with Jamie Selby a couple of weeks ago, which was very helpful input. And then as a group, we met yesterday and then touched base with Greg, which is extremely helpful because Greg has done a number of club renovations. So as a group, we're going to take that input, try to tighten it up, make sure that anything that needs to be included that's functional is in there, and then we believe we'll be able to go to the architect and get some drawings that will suffice to go out for some, I'll call it rough pricing, may not be the exact term, but that way at least we can put a stake in the ground. So that's where we are on that one.
And Jill,
Yeah,
I've got a problem. I mean, if you're now meeting with architects and coming up with designs, that's not a workshop
no,
anymore.
I'm not, no, Rich, this is no change from what you guys have seen. This is just some functional things, but it doesn't change, it's not gonna change the design, it's not gonna change the plan. It doesn't change the plan at all. There's no element that's gonna change, it's just some things, for example, Greg has said, well, comment on where a drink rail maybe should be here or there, and some of the other operational.
I thought we were just setting something out for preliminary pricing.
We are, that's
So
what
we're
it
just
said.
getting- But do we need to then start worrying about where a drink rail is if we're just trying to get preliminary pricing? I mean,
So, Rich, I think the issue is, we all said there are different areas we would like explored. And so the way they did the preliminary drawings, we were just asking them to revise and see if any other ideas would work before we went forward with pricing. Because there was one issue of turning the whole bar. And so I think that's what Jill's talking about, talking to the architect about what's possible. And with the same preliminary drawings we had in the packet. But it's not a final at all.
No, it's literally
Okay.
just to get rough pricing.
but I haven't even seen anything since the last, Joe?
Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't seen anything since after that first conversation, and we met with the people from Sala. I haven't seen the drawing. I have no idea where we were even at.
Well, there really isn't much of a change, but let's do this. Why don't, I'm putting together a couple of notes on things, and before we go out to rough pricing, I'll come back to the board. Will that work?
That's fine, because like I said, I haven't seen it. I don't know where we're at. It's been, 3 months, 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah, well,
I
we've been
haven't
busy.
So,
No. I know that, but but we're going for pricing, and I haven't seen. I don't know where we're at.
We're just going for rough pricing to get a ballpark.
No, but I'm saying, but I don't know what design we're going for pricing on, because I haven't seen that, we all had comments after the original review. I mean, I know what my comments were, but I don't know what Cheryl's comments or Ken's comments or your comments or Cindy's comments were. And I don't know what the design looks like, but we're gonna be going out to price it.
Nothing's really changed from that. But let me come back to the board before we take it out for rough pricing. I think you'll see there really isn't much of a change, unless Bob told you in facilities there has been.
No, I haven't, no, Bob,
Bob gives an update at every meeting.
Incorporate any feedback.
No, Bob doesn't really say anything about it. And the only thing we hear from Bob is what Bob wants, not what.
Let me come back to the board once we get something that's detailed and isn't just changed, but shows some of the, because like, for example, one of the things that's been debated is, so these 5 arches here, do we make a change there, for example, and, do stacked glass there, for example? That's something that's been talked about, that sort of thing. Because that would actually be an expensive option. So anyway, let us put the notes, because your notes are included in there. We haven't done a lot since then because of the change in amenities companies. So not a lot's happened.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, cool. And the last thing I wanted to just ask Cheryl, if you're going to talk about War Room.
What would you like me to talk about?
All the dead plants?
So I will tell you that Wyatt, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Cheryl.
No, that's okay. Wyatt called me while I was in Japan. So, and he wanted to do the walkthrough for the guarantee and replacing dead plants. And I said, can't do it because I'm not there. So I have a call into him and I will catch up with him this week. We'll do the walkthrough on the dead plants and then they will replace whatever's dead.
I'll just say my one concern on that is that there are a number of things that looked really good and maybe came back a little bit. And one of my concerns is we're going to end up with plants that are very, very stressed out now that we go into dry season. For example, there were trees that had like 3 leaves left on them.
Yeah, and those to me need to go. And last time we did a count, a very rough count, there were at least 7 of the elms that needed to be replaced. So he knows kind of where we're at. If they've come back like more than 50%, we won't replace them, but we'll go through, we'll walk down the whole area like we did last time and do the guarantee work.
Okay, and then maybe I'll just add to the end, on the end of that. I got an email from a homeowner on Medici. There's a fence break and still missing plantings, and they are east of the entrance. So maybe we can talk about that.
Was that fence break from where they were doing the watering?
I don't know, but it's a gap and people are walking through.
Yeah, so there were actually, if I remember correctly, this was a couple of weeks ago, there were pallets that were being used as little walkways for the watering that was going on back over there. And the fences were down.
They have to fix the fence. What they were doing is walking through from where the irrigation was, rather than having to drive around every time, they put a couple breaks in. So I will get back with Wyatt to make sure that they do get those corrected and fixed.
Because it looks horrible. It still looks like, Lord only knows what happens for you, Ken.
Yeah, they were walking through, this is clearly an intentional break to walk through for watering.
Correct.
Yes, I'll
Yes.
make sure that they're
Yes.
fixed.
Okay, are we planting more stuff there?
If they want to put a gate in there with a lock, so they can have access, for going forward purposes, they should, that should be something that should be looked at. Because it doesn't make sense to go all the way around, but obviously we don't want to leave an open break.
I think this was a temporary thing, Rich, so when we do the walkthrough for the guarantee, we'll also do the work on the fence piece.
Okay, thanks for that. All right, that's all I have.
Well, and I'll
Get
give
this
you my
guy.
other quick update, which is I have a call into Brian McFall about where we're at with the design. And so he knows landscape committee is next Monday, which was kind of his target. So I'll push him and see what we can get, so, yeah.
I've just got one thing. Hello?
Yep, we're here. We hear you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would, I mentioned this when we had council, but now that Greg is here, I would suggest that, and probably after Thanksgiving to give Greg a chance, but we should definitely have a meeting or a workshop with Greg. So we could all sit down, explain to him where we're all at, and get a consensus of the board's opinions. Because if we all walk, if everybody walks into Greg with a different opinion, he's not gonna know who to listen to. And I think we should, and all the supervisors should know what, so if Jill says something, obviously as the liaison and as a chair, it has more precedence, but I don't know if Jill says it because I can't talk to Jill. So I think we should all have a meeting to understand, and inform Greg what the community is like, what's going on here. There may be some problems in the past. Hear what he wants to do, and then come up with a plan that we're all part of, so we're all aware. So should the community ask us a question, we can answer them. Should we have a different opinion, we can say it. But obviously, I'm gonna, if three people say this is where we want to go, and I disagree, I'm just going to go with the majority because that's what we need to do. But we need to know what everybody's feelings are, and I think we should really get that onto an agenda item, because we talked about it several times with council, never got it done, and I don't want to fall into that trap with Greg, and I think we should set up a meeting, just as a true workshop, so we don't need Belinda, we don't need Andy, and just 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever it is, sitting down talking with Greg as a group, so we all get on the same page.
What do you think, Greg?
I think that sounds great. That sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, communication is great. Getting on the same page is great. I'll make myself available whenever it's convenient.
So, Rich, do you foresee this as then we should set up, this is a separate workshop, we would need to have notice, and we have to agree a date.
Or it could just be, instead of a meeting, we could just create the meeting as a full workshop or whatever. I mean, however we want to do it. It doesn't really make a difference. I mean, it could be a meeting, but without voting on anything, we don't need Andy. I guess if it's truly a meeting, we need Belinda for minutes. But I would just extend, I would just make this after Thanksgiving, let him get through a couple of weeks, see what's going on here, get a feel of the place, a feel of the people, the personnel, the residents, the needs, whatever. And then we can sit down and try to come up with the best plan possible.
I think we have 2 meetings in December. I showed you.
Do we have one Christmas week?
I showed one on the 22nd.
Okay, and I think so we canceled the second one in November.
It's still on the CDD site. Did we
It
cancel?
is on the CDD site, but I thought there was a comment about there's only one meeting in November.
Yeah, but I think that was an incorrect comment.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
I think everybody's understanding is there's only one meeting.
yeah, that's
We'll
exactly
check
what
with
I've been
Linda.
understanding, yeah.
Okay.
And so I think we need to
But that
talk
meeting,
about,
that meeting's also before Thanksgiving, so I don't know if we
Doesn't
want
help
to do
here,
that.
yeah.
right, just a point of clarification, but in December, it's the same thing. The second meeting is in the week of the holiday, and it's pretty close, frankly. So, which is something we have to talk about when Belinda's here,
Okay,
so we
we'll
can
do
get
it
the
later.
schedule down.
Okay, all right.
But what I was gonna say, sorry, in light of that, is I think it would be a good idea to maybe do this as the first meeting in January. Or early January. Is that too late for you? Do you think you wanna, how long will it take you to kind of get up to speed?
I could meet with you anytime you wanted.
Okay,
I think sooner is better than later myself.
Sooner, I would agree, especially before Thanksgiving, because there's some things that are,
You want to meet before Thanksgiving?
well, I think we probably should. There's some things that just should be addressed sooner rather than later. Or talked about or understood.
I don't think we
There
can,
may be
we can't
those
announce a
things that-
special workshop before Thanksgiving.
But unless she took that off the books, because it's still on the website.
Well checked.
Yeah, we'll check.
It's gotta be
There's
2
2 weeks
weeks.
or Joe, maybe you just sit down with Greg, if there's a few items, directly related to Thanksgiving, that you guys just hash out as best you can, and, because like I said, we can't get another meeting going until 2 weeks. And that's the Monday of Thanksgiving, and if he wants to make any major changes, that's really not gonna give him any opportunity to do that.
Well, so a question then, I'm kind of done with my stuff for the workshop. Does anybody else have anything? Because then maybe we can, you do, okay. Maybe we can take some time and then you have a report. But I don't know if you'd be prepared to just sort of give your first impressions.
Yeah, I could talk
In the
about a couple of
workshop,
things
well-
that you could be of assistance to help. So,
Do you want to do
Cover.
yours first, Ken?
Yeah, yes. You may not have had, it's on, but not,
Not on, but not on.
that's,
Here is this.
hello.
Oh,
Okay, so I realize it's short notice, so you may not have given it any thought yet, so we can put this off. But I had sent around yesterday, just some initial thoughts about the Welcome Center lease terms. So we can either discuss it now, or if you have some things that you think should be included, maybe you could send them to Belinda or. But I wanted to get this out so I could maybe continue the conversation with Heritage Golf.
So Ken,
Do we know what, do we know what the taxes and the
Yes,
whatever?
yeah, the combination is just under 75,000.
Not including that's not the taxes.
Taxes are 50 and the assessment is 24.
But the 24 is included in the 50. It is, I ran the bill. I ran the bill this
I did
morning.
too.
Okay.
I thought it was ad valorem and non-ad valorem.
Oh, maybe I looked at it wrong. Could be I got it wrong. I got hang on, look, just one sec, Rich. I just want to get that issue out. So I have the total taxes as 27,402 and the non-ad valorem at 24,831. So and the total is 50,144.50.
I'll double check it, but let's assume that's correct.
Okay.
So that's 50 plus operating expenses. So they're running 75 to 85,000 a year sitting on it.
Do you know anything about change of control?
What do you mean?
If Heritage sells the golf course, do we maintain the lease?
Well, that would be part of the contract.
Contract, yeah. And right of first refusal is the other thing I would mention. If they're gonna sell it, would we get right of first refusal? I think we should include that.
Yep.
Yeah, and the only other thing I would think about is, they're talking about maintaining air conditioners and things like that. If we were to take that place over and do any work, we're probably looking at redoing the HVAC systems and whatnot. So I don't know. I mean, we have to look at that, but $12,000 a year is not a big number.
What I'm proposing.
This is a lead-in.
What I'm proposing is that they retain responsibility for the structure and systems. So it's a 25-year-old building. We don't want to take responsibility for the roof and the AC units at this point in time because we know they're going to have to be replaced. And theoretically, they bought it and it should be, they're taking depreciation on it, so they would be responsible for replacing the structure and systems.
Yeah, but we just have to discuss with them, or I guess as we get closer, we can discuss with them, because if we're gonna do some modifications to the building, obviously that's gonna affect the HVAC system or systems. Who pays for that?
Right.
So that's something we can look at as we get closer and after we do an analysis of the building, and then figure out what it is that we actually want to potentially do with it. Because if they're gonna maintain it, that's great, it maintains the way it is, but it may not be functional for how we want to create, change this building to something else. So we may have to look at that separately.
Well, that would be something that they would want to come back. Well, I don't want to negotiate for them.
Right, exactly.
right?
Yes.
So that would be their responsibility to come back or or we would take on that responsibility if we're gonna make physical changes.
Okay,
Okay.
but I think that's a great, that was a great, a very good offer on that part.
No, it's
Well,
our
This is
turn.
us, not
This is
them.
us.
They haven't offered anything. They're waiting for us to come to them.
Yeah.
Oh, us, I'm sorry, oh,
It's funny because Rich
I'm
says that, because I interpreted that when I got it, I think I must have read it too fast and I interpreted it as an offer from them.
Yeah, I interpreted.
No, I thought in my
Ken's
cover
ideas.
email, I
That was
had,
Ken's idea.
That's Ken's idea.
I had said, this is what I would like to go to them with.
In any case.
In any case, I'm not negotiating for them.
I thought, man, he's a hard negotiator. God.
I just wanted to be sure you were all okay with me doing this
Yeah.
opening
Yes,
salvo,
please.
Yes, I think this is.
just to get something moving.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And obviously, it's all contingent upon
Yeah.
inspection and,
Yeah, thank you for that.
plus we needed to further talk about what we would want to do with it. To Rich's point, it makes a big difference if we're gonna do major restructuring versus just use it as a meeting space
Yeah,
and card space.
Yes,
Okay,
very expensive card space.
so please.
Yeah.
Cool.
actually, I want to see the inside of that building, so I mean, at some point in time, if they start going closer, we need to see,
I moved in after.
we need to go in there and to get some ideas of what the conditions are. And then, I said, need to see what it looks like, so we can start figuring out.
Yeah,
what
we
it might
would,
be, and maybe we get a contractor and an architect to come in and start saying, well, what can we do with this place reasonably, inexpensively, and make it a meeting room, a card room, pool table or something like that, to make it, usable for the residents. And then that frees up the River Club from all the meetings and
right.
potentially office staff, whatnot.
Yeah,
Well, that's what we were talking about. I did a walkthrough, and it was in surprisingly better condition than I thought it.
you didn't see any stalactites hanging from the ceiling?
No, but it needs a complete inspection, obviously.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that there were a couple of interested buyers who got down to the very end of negotiation and backed out because they got cost estimates of what it was gonna take
Yeah.
to do whatever they wanted to do, and it was cost prohibitive. Keep in mind, there's no plumbing, other than the restrooms. So anything you wanted to add for showers or fitness center or changing room, you gotta go through the concrete floor and put in plumbing and drainage, and, there's nothing there. So it got just cost prohibitive for potential buyers.
I have one dumb question, because this is not anywhere in any of the wheelhouses I've been in.
No such thing as a dumb question.
What about leasing, like if we lease the property and said we pay for cost of demolition, is that ever done? Like if we wanted to just, if we wanted the area and said, we pay for demolition, and we're leasing it for 25, I'm just asking the question out of the blue.
We can ask for that,
Just curious.
I think I think it'll be a real problem for them because it's on their books at a very
I don't think.
That's kind of what I thought.
significant amount that they would have to write off, and I don't think they want to do that.
Like a kitchen sink. Okay. Anyway,
If you bought it, then you can do anything you
well,
want.
right, if it's your first refusal. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you have anything else? Are you done? Should we let Greg riff on what Greg does? You okay with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great.
And open to any questions or suggestions that you may have.
Does Greg need a mic?
Yes.
Here we go.
He's got one.
How's that?
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, first I'll give a big thank you for such a warm welcome from the Board of Supervisors and all the members that I've met over the last week. Today is my official start date, but I did come a little early and started last Thursday. So I've been here for day 5 now. And it's pretty easy to see that we're in a challenging situation. Like I've kind of listed 4 or 5 bullet points that I think are top priority. And rather than look backwards and point fingers at how we ended up in this position, but we have limited or no staff. That's, I would say, first and foremost. And the staff that we do have here is holding on for dear life. So I've sat down with everybody individually to hear their feedback and their input and what can be done and what should be done, and taking that into consideration as I express my opinion. So we just have some people that really genuinely care about the club and the property and the members, and my heart goes out for the position that they've found themselves in. But that being said, some of the decisions and actions that we can take immediately and quickly will help alleviate some of the pressure. And I want to make it clear right from the beginning, some of the things that we're going to have to do in the beginning with such a limited staff are not how I envision the club being in 3 months, 6 months, a year. But some things have to be addressed, and I guess the best way to do it is just give you an example of what happened on Friday with 2 club events. We had the first Friday at the Tiki Bar, and we had a fish fry in here, and then we also had a la carte dining going on, and did pretty much the whole thing with 5 or 6 hourly employees in the front of the house. And that's not anything I'm proud of and that's not anything I think the members and residents should have to go through and experience. When you come to the club, you should be able to enjoy it. And as fun as the members made it for themselves, I'm certain it wasn't a great experience for pretty much anybody. So if we don't make changes, we're going to keep going down the same path for multiple events that are on the calendar already, that were put there with good intentions and will eventually be fantastic events. But right now, we're just not in a position logistically. And like I said, I'm not looking backwards at how we got here. I just want to look forwards at how we get out of it. And one of the things that we have to do to get out of it is rein in some of the things, limit some of the options and timing, and not have 2 club events and a la carte dining at the same time. Really trying to understand and recognize what we can do and do as much as we can without, I'd rather under promise and over deliver than the other way around.
Right.
So I guess the best way to really present this to you, and another example would be what we have on the books for Thanksgiving, which is just a couple of weeks away. And the way it's set up now is going to be not good and a real disaster on that day. And that's the last thing I want to do on Thanksgiving Day when people have friends and family and guests in town. We're going to start on Wednesday. We'll have our first department head and BEO meeting on Wednesday. And when I say a disaster, here's what I'm talking about. We have 3 seating times, 12, 2, and 4. Each seating time has approximately 200 members booked. We have 5 front of the house employees and 5 back of the house employees. And those 5 employees or 10 employees, 12 employees will be able to execute, but we have to change things around a little bit for Thanksgiving. So what we're going to start incorporating on Wednesday, Jill has been kind enough to volunteer because I saw this in the first couple of days I was here, we need to encourage the 12 o'clock reservations, as many as we can, to come in at 11:15, 11:30, 11:45. The 2 o'clocks we're kind of stuck with, we'll leave those pretty much where they're at. We might adjust some closer to 1:30 and some closer to 2:30. And then the 4 o'clock reservations, we're going to have to make some phone calls and ask if we can have people come in at 4:15, 4:30, 4:45. Because if you consider 200 people trying to go through a buffet and an action station, even the best case scenario, if you put 200 people in a line, it's 45 minutes to at least just to get through the line. And the way it was set up, everybody's allotted 90 minutes for dining. So it's not going to work the way it's set up. So that's one of the things I'm glad I have the opportunity to share with you as we reach out to members and residents and start saying, can you change your Thanksgiving in time for your family? I don't want the feedback to be anything other than what we're trying to do is structure it in such a way that we can come close to executing at a level that you really deserve as residents and members. Yes.
I was just waiting for Belinda.
One of the other challenges this club definitely faces is the dining, the à la carte dining at the Tiki Bar for a couple of reasons. One, there's no kitchen over there. There's no sanitation. There's health and safety issues, whether it's insects, bees, rodents, everything else that feeds on any scrap food. We're going to continue to offer food service until 5, but what I've talked about with Jill and what I've proposed and talked about with the staff and the team is really to always have dining available at the club, but it doesn't mean dining anywhere and everywhere, anytime at the club. So while we have a limited staff, we'll probably have a tiki menu that goes till 5 p.m. and then transfer inside to have dining inside the club. So at any time during the course of the day, there's always going to, and we'll still continue to have lunch in here during the day. But the volume of members that utilize the club during the day is significantly less than at night. So we're just going to be, I just want you all to be aware that there's got to be some changes to, the definition of insanity. I don't want to go down that path. Keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result is not going to work. So I'll just apologize for anybody who had a less than stellar experience this last week. We're working very hard to address some of the issues and make the changes that need to be made. I'm open for any questions or comments or feedback or anything you may have.
Do we have an idea how many people eat at the Tiki Bar from 5 o'clock till 7, 8 o'clock at night? Especially in season, because I think it might be a considerable amount of people that will not be upset that they can't eat outside.
This is my 5th day, so other than Friday night, I haven't seen too many people. Most people are having lunch out there. And Rich, I understand your concern. There's just not a way to do it. Not without falling on our face. We have to prioritize where the service needs to be. And if someone has an argument or rationale that hot dogs and cheeseburgers and pizza at the Tiki Bar outside in the dark with the insects and everything else is more important than the dining experience that you have in the club and the dining room, I'm open to any counterpoint on that.
I think that what you're saying, sorry, Kim, is that I think it makes sense. I think communication is the key. To let people know that we're working on hiring. In the meantime, in order to make sure you have a good experience, we are not going to serve dinner at the Tiki Bar. We will reevaluate this as soon as staffing is complete. I think if you do something like that, people will kind of breathe and go, oh, okay. Because some people want their hot dog with the mosquitoes. Not me. But
You're eating outside, there's gonna be bugs,
Yeah.
that's Florida.
But
I don't
but
think
I,
people have a problem with that.
I think communication is just the key, and just to let people know that it's a staffing issue, and we'll reevaluate when staffing is full.
I guess more importantly, we have data. We have data that can be pulled out of Jonas in terms of covers of Tiki by day of the week and hour. So
I have it on my
somebody
desk.
should- Yeah, somebody should look at that. And if it's a small number, then I would agree with you. If it's a big number, there might be more people eating out there sometimes than in here, certainly at lunchtime. Nobody eats lunch.
No, lunch is open. We'll be serving, chef is actually working on a Tiki Bar lunch menu that we'll be serving lunch every day till 5 out there. Food service goes till 5 out there every day. I do have the numbers, I did review them. It's very limited amount of people that eat after 5 at the Tiki Bar. But in addition to just the where you want to eat, it's imperative that we consolidate our forces and our ability and understand what that is, and spreading it out over that length of space, lack of kitchens, sanitation, restrooms. We can do what we can do. So, and unfortunately, as a management team and a management company and a manager myself, we have to be able to understand what our capabilities are and not set you up for bad experiences. which the way it was, I mean, I literally watched Jill bussing tables and carrying chairs on Friday night.
Well, I didn't bust tables, but I did. But, no, but I think, to Greg's point, maybe I would just add, I do know, for example, what maybe necessarily doesn't show up, because I get it that people love to dine anywhere, anytime, is that somebody maybe, for example, sitting in the bar waiting for 45 minutes on a Wednesday night for a menu, because we've got people everywhere trying to dine everywhere, or we've had times up here where we want to get a second glass of wine, and you have to just sort of like throw yourself in front of a server, and it's not their fault. So one of the concerns, and this is why I agree with what Greg is doing, is we don't know what revenue we might be losing, or people we may be putting off if they're having a bad experience. And so I think that has to be laid on top of the actual, revenue numbers that we do see. So I support what you're doing.
Well, I do too, and we have a reservation system, and maybe you have to figure out what the appropriate number of people to be served is. And I know you want to take walk-ins, and we welcome people to come down, but at some point you go to a restaurant and sometimes they say, we can serve you, but it's an hour wait. And they just have to wait, or they decide to go someplace else. If
And
you're limited staff, you may have to do that.
100%. I absolutely look forward to getting to that point. We literally don't have a host, a single F&B manager, a busser, an expediter. We don't have enough employees. I mean, God bless some of the ones that we have.
Yeah,
I'll give you an
I
example.
appreciate it right now.
We have servers that don't leave here till 10 o'clock at night, who come back at 6:45 in the morning, because there's also no court maintenance people or facility maintenance people. So they have just been stretched.
Sure.
And after sitting and talking to everybody, I can tell you there's a number of them that are at their breaking point.
Yeah.
And you may have to do something short-term.
That's what
Correct.
I'm saying.
That's what I'm
I'm talking
talking
about on
about.
an ongoing basis.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm talking about an immediate solution or remedy to the current problem. And I hope that, and it's worth repeating, what I'm talking about over the next 3 or 6 months is not what I foresee in 6 months to a year. We'll be in a much different position than we are right now. But unfortunately, it's where we're at. And without looking back and pointing fingers, I can only say that I'm going to try to offer solutions so we can do the best we can with what we have.
Greg, I'm not disagreeing with, what I said about the tiki, I'm not disagreeing with what you said. I just think we need to know what the tiki revenue is, so we can look at that and understand that. Because if it's significant, it might, we have to obviously keep that in mind, for budgetary purposes. And also maybe at some point in time, if things ease a little bit, you can start thinking about using the patio for dining, because a lot of people, if the weather's nice, like to eat outside. So if that's possible, it's closer to the kitchen, as opposed to a whole separate place. Just to give the people the feeling they're eating outside instead of eating indoors. And as an option, but I'm just trying, and I know that we're definitely losing revenue by not having good service. People pick up their leave instead of having a second glass of wine. So, but we just need to understand what we lose if we close the tiki at 5.
I don't necessarily think the gap's gonna be that big, Rich. I think what you're gonna have is a shift. I think you're gonna see the revenue shift from the tiki bar into La Sala and into the dining room. And like you said, if we can open up a patio here, this should be the outdoor dining experience. But then the question becomes, is those individuals that are in their swimsuits and everything, we have guidelines to come in here and dine. And so that would be the other piece that would have to be addressed. But I think you're gonna see a shift. It might be a slight decrease, but I think it's gonna be mostly a shift.
And I would just say, thank you
Yes.
for
Thank you.
recognizing the problem
Thank you.
and for providing a solution on an interim basis while we hire staff. I think
Yes.
that's kind of what I've been looking for, so I really appreciate that. It's not work harder, move faster, run harder. This is great.
This is put on the brakes, reassess, and I like that.
I just want to say one final thing, in addition to thank you again to you. I mean, when I was here Friday, it was, I don't know if any of you made it, well, I don't know if you were back yet, or awake, but I wasn't awake. But I was astounded at how hard people were working. You had servers going through the crowd with trays of food, food runners. I know one of the line cooks was running food out to the tiki. And I just really want to thank the staff, because I've just watched people hoofing it was amazing. And, it was a 90-year-old lady who needed a chair, and somebody scooted back here and found a chair on the back porch for her while she was, briefly trying to be able to stand. So I just want to say thank you to the staff.
I will continue to share that.
My only additional comment was, whatever you decide to do, just make sure it gets communicated to residents, because that's where we often fall down, is we don't communicate well.
Right. Thank you. Do we want to take a break and let Melinda set up? All righty, Rich, are you still okay? I'm just gonna leave you there on the table.
You want to be there? You just want to call me back?
I could do that. I'll call you back. Okay. Okay.
I made a pot of coffee if anybody wants coffee.
Party on.
I need to text him.
I have to have a used coffee break before I get some coffee break.
So it's a little.
Sign up sheet, but maybe they will by now.
Well, that'll still be the case.
You're right, the Jones does have our location and revenue. And it's one of the things I want to say. It's even
Do we have a sign up sheet, Kate?
Not yet.
Okay.
It will be just a few. Hey, how we doing?
It's open.
Which makes total sense, because